ICE is dangerous. I think the most dangerous thing about ICE right now is how these random people can show up in an unmarked vehicle with tactical gear, masked, and then they say that they're federal, so they don't have to give you any identification. They don't have to show you any paperwork. They just say, we're ICE. We're here for him. We're here for her. Get in the car. That's dangerous. I don't know when it became a thing that once you're federal, you don't have to have warrants and reasoning and identify yourself. Why the fuck would it not be of the utmost importance at the federal level? ICE is fucking dangerous. The whole thing with this whole mask thing, on top of you not having to identify yourself, so you're hiding your face and you're saying that you're legally protected from identifying yourself. So how the fuck do we know that you're a real ICE agent? How do we know that you're not just some white supremacist mother that hates Latinos, hates blacks, hates South Americans, hates anybody that's not white, and this is your opportunity to put on some ICE costume so you can act upon your prejudice, so you can act upon your racism. That's the fucking dangerous part about it, right? On top of this bullshit approach to deportations. Because before, I told y'all this months ago. I literally told y'all this months ago. I said, what are they going to do? They're going to try to paint it as some big positive. That's what they always try to do. This big, beautiful bill that's going to fuck over. And then with the deportations, they said, oh, we're only going to go after the criminals. The violent criminal gang members. Those are the only ones we're going to go after. But then they said, get creative. Find them at Home Depot, the ones trying to work. Get creative. Go to the courthouses for their asylum hearings. Get creative. A lot of these recent arrests have been them going to people's jobs. That doesn't sound like you going after the criminals and the violent offenders. That sounds like you going after everybody that looks like they're from South America, no matter what. We have some lazy muckers that are only living a quality life in the world because they're on the better end of the stick when the middle class is fucked over, or when the little man is fucked over, or whatever you want to call it. Those same lazy motherfuckers who wouldn't be worth two shits, wouldn't be able to rub two pennies together if it wasn't for their current position that allows them to capitalize off the struggles of the middle class. Those same lazy motherfuckers will look at a hardworking immigrant and go, criminal, get him out of here. ICE is fucking dangerous. Pay attention. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Look at the gear they walk around with. Looking like they're going through the most violent battle in Ukraine right now, but they're in civilian areas on American soil with civilians looking around like, why is there an ICE armored vehicle with ICE agents in tactical gear walking around my community looking for someone who isn't even a real threat to us? ICE is fucking dangerous. It's the modern day Gestapo. I don't think we are too far away from the Department of Homeland Security being like, fuck, not meeting the deportation quotas, so start going home to home and request to see people's papers. Do you want ICE, show us your birth certificate? ICE, prove you're a citizen. Do you want that? Doesn't that sound like a dystopian conspiracy theory to you or whatever, until it's not? Why do masked men and women in unmarked cars get to go round people up and they don't have to show any paperwork? They don't have to identify themselves. They don't have to show their face. You would think that in a sensible country, in a country with common sense, somebody would see that scenario and go, yeah, I can see how that could go wildly left. How do we know that it's not the most racist Proud Boy member on the planet behind that ski mask claiming to be an ICE agent? How do we know? ICE is fucking dangerous, and there needs to be real pushback against the bullshit they're doing right now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in. There has been massive ice raid in Los Angeles for the past few days, and now people are living in fear because the ice raided even the elementary school where the kids were graduating, to a point that their parents ran away, leaving their kids behind. The kid fell on the knees of their teachers, hugging them because they were so afraid and scared that when they go back home, perhaps they might not find their parents at home. The eyes also went to the workplaces and even to the downtown, but the residents of Los Angeles stood their ground and went to the street to protest, to march. And when they overpowered the eyes, you know what the President of the United States did? He signed an executive order to deploy the National Guard, and people now are in fear that maybe they might bring the martial law in the United States. Anyway, guys, let's dive in and kindly give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you're coming across the channel for the very first time.
You may have seen the headlines about President Trump deploying the California National Guard, 2,000 California National Guard troops in response to protests. I think it's really important for people to understand this is not the first time a president has done this. This isn't the first time Trump has done this. The story is really about who they deploy them for and who they deploy them against. In 1957, President Eisenhower federalized the National Guard in Arkansas. Why? To protect Black children who were integrating a white high school. The governor at the time of Arkansas actually called on the National Guard to stop the integration, and President Eisenhower stepped in, federalized the National Guard. President John F. Kennedy did the same. 1962, James Meredith was the first Black student to integrate Ole Miss. After he did so, riots broke out. JFK stepped in. 1963, Governor Wallace, in Alabama, tried to physically block Black students from attending the University of Alabama. JFK federalized the National Guard. They stepped in. Oh, but there are other examples. 1992, after the police who beat Rodney King were acquitted on all charges, LA erupted in outrage. President at the time, George H.W. Bush, he sent in federal troops and he federalized parts of the California National Guard. 60 people died during that uprising. And then there's 2020. After the murder of George Floyd, the country erupted in protest. And Donald Trump, who was the president at the time, didn't just send the National Guard into D.C. No, he wanted to invoke the Insurrection Act. He wanted to send active duty military into American cities all over the country. And according to his secretary, Mark Esper, who was his Secretary of Defense at the time, asked could they send troops into the streets of D.C. and shoot the protesters. He didn't get his way, but the president had protesters in Lafayette Square outside of the White House tear gas so that he could walk to a church for a photo op. Yeah, the National Guard has been used to protect people who are demanding justice and also to suppress them. So the next time a president, any president, especially this president, talks about law and order or restoring calm, ask yourself, whose peace exactly are they protecting and at whose expense?
Hey, y'all. It's that time. We need to be carrying that at all times now. Trust me. You're going to need it. We need contingency plans. We need meetups. All that. We need bug out bags ready. Listen, we're about to head into a huge civil unrest. I ain't saying nothing crazy like the world gonna end or nothing like that. But it's about to get ugly out here. The ICE, they're trying to hit that 3,000 immigrant quota a day. They're attacking randomly. They went after a Los Angeles graduation today, getting parents and everything. Parents were in the middle of the graduation watching their kids, had to ditch everything and just leave. The kids don't know if they're going to see their parents when they got out or went home, people crying, all this stuff. Yeah. And listen, everyone out here that's protesting and standing behind, not going for that shit, you need to be careful. I'm not saying don't, because I'm not going to just stand by and let them snatch up people either. But you need to have your head on a swivel. You need to be ready for anything. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but back last year, during elections and everything, they passed a bill. All right? Trump wasn't supposed to be in the office. We know that. We don't want Trump in office, but he wasn't supposed to be in there. And they set some bills in place in response to any MAGA people, whatever your supporters, showing up and being unruly in places. Law enforcement officers they're authorized to use deadly force on protesters now. So keep that in mind when we're out here and we're in these large groups and we're not standing for that shit. I'm not standing for that shit either. You're not gonna snatch my neighbor up and think I'm gonna just stand by recording like an idiot. All right? But we need to be vigilant. We need to be strategic, and we also need to be ready to get the hell out of Dodge because they not playing fair. And it's gonna be one of them that slip, and all hell gonna break loose. So, again, you need meetup plans, contingency plans, all that. Because if they decide to shut this shit straight down, we're going straight into martial law. They not even gonna play with us, y'all. But we not gonna play with them either. It's gonna be friction. All right. You can take what I say with a grain of salt. You can disregard it. You can go back to your life thinking it ain't gonna affect you. It's them. Just let it happen. Fuck that. We're gonna stand behind the Hispanic population. This country was built off of immigration. All right. Watch out for each other and be ready for anything, cause shit's about to go down.
The protests and the frozen water raids in LA will ultimately prove to be a very, very bad look. This is not going to make the taco regime look good, even among their own base. They have made a big showing, they made a big production out of bringing ICE to these sanctuary cities and finally getting all of the criminals and illegal people who are being held up there. This has been a key talking point in MAGA, not just leading up to Trump 2.0, it's been a key talking point throughout his entire life in the public eye. Pee Wee German said earlier this week that he would like to see these departments pick up at least 3,000 people a day. 3,000 arrests. They are grandstanding for their base. With all the chaos that took place yesterday, all the resources that are dedicated to sending these goons into Los Angeles or any of these cities to round people up, they ended up detaining 44 people. That's not a very good look when you've been telling your followers for years that millions of these people have flooded America and majority of them are being held up in cities like Los Angeles. I plan on breaking this down in greater detail. If you subscribe to my Substack, if you go to the Lime Room, you will hear all of this broken down more in today's episode. But think about that. They said 3,000 per day, and they only walked away with 44 in one of the most populated cities in this country. They're going to have to answer a lot of questions, even among their own base. And that is why I say what's going on in Los Angeles yesterday and today is really not a good look for the taco regime.
So, guys, welcome back. The United States residents are currently living in fear, especially the immigrants, the marginalized communities, the Latinos, Venezuelans, Cubans, even the Asians, Palestinians. These people are living in fear because if the ICE is raiding LA right now and the president is signing an executive order to deploy the National Guard, this is like a martial law in Los Angeles, right? The Latinos right now, they are crashing out because their community betrayed them by voting in Donald Trump in 2024. Now they are calling out each other. Why didn't we listen to the black community in 2024? Like, there is this woman, I hope you saw her, the second clip of the video. She was saying that why didn't we listen to the black community in 2024 before we voted in this guy? And there are even some Latinos who are saying that if you voted for this man in 2024, you better block me. We better not be friends anymore because you betrayed us. These eyes are even raiding schools. They want to detain school-going children. These children, fourth grader is innocent. Fourth grader didn't vote. A Actually, he didn't even know how he came to the United States. Maybe he came when he was a few months old, maybe 2 months or 1 month old. And right now, he or she want to get detained. Like the fourth grader was detained by ICE yesterday. I saw a folk. This black man was actually crying out that whatever ICE did to that school where children were graduating was not good, because which parent will allow his or her child to go to school after learning that ICE raided the school during the graduation ceremony? You know, the ICE were putting on masks. It's so difficult to identify them. And when they saw that the LA residents overpowered them, they brought in the FBI. Then, now the National Guard. Like, seriously, what's really going on in the United States? Because right now, the world is watching. You know, some people are saying that let them get the illegal immigrants out. So, do you want to tell me that uh, at school, the elementary schools, we have criminals? Don't tell me that those children in school are criminals. And there is also a business person who closed in the business when the ICE raided in. He just went ahead and closed the business, because what could he have done anyway? Because if these people get inside your workplace and you are so scared to death, and the fact that the residents of the LA came out in large numbers, it taught a lesson to other states that if they see ICE coming, you know, some people are so happy right now that the ICE are raiding those states to detain the illegal immigrants, or perhaps the immigrants who have no document. You know, getting document actually is not easy. It's not a walk in the park, because it's a process. Maybe these people were still waiting for their documents to be approved, because it takes a lot of time, and ICE doesn't want to know that. I don't know whether they always question whether you have a document, or maybe you are waiting for your document, or maybe it's in the process. They just detain you. They want to take you to El Salvador the way they took other people. And my question is actually, being that the ICE were putting on masks, do you think that people, if some people start purchasing, like random people start faking to be ICE, they start kidnapping people by purchasing those costume of ICE? You see those clothes that ICE were putting on, I know they might get them in Amazon. What if they start faking to be ICE and start kidnapping people? Where is America headed to? Because you know, we always see the American dream and always believed in it, but right now it's like a scam. The American dream is a scam, because this is not the America that we've been shown on the television all along. If people are living in fear like this right now, you don't know how tomorrow will be. You don't know if maybe tomorrow ICE will be knocking on your door to take you away. So it's just the right time to be your brother's keeper. Some people might be clapping back, but you don't know if tomorrow it's your community that will be raided, that will be detained. It's just a high time we support other communities that are being in fear, that are being raided, that are being detained. I saw also ICE actually handcuffing one man on the road, and people were screaming, questioning them, why are you handcuffing him? He's so innocent. Like, a lot has been happening in the United States for the past few months since Donald Trump got into the office. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Are you supporting the LA residents for whatever they did, or are you against it? And how are you showing support to the marginalized communities that are being raided right now? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Kindly give it a thumbs up, and if you are coming across the channel for the very first time, I'm your host Judy. Kindly consider subscribing. Until next time, guys, see you in my next episode. Bye.